Hey, today I want to talk about a new action sports complex that is coming to you soon in Kinston, North Carolina. I talked to the founder of the line, and I also talked to the guy that's building the line. And let's meet him, shall we?
Oh, my cue. Hey, I'm Ron Kimler, Livewire Construction.
My name's Kevin Albritton, and we're at the Line Action Sports Park in Kinston, North Carolina.
Both these guys are big into BMX, so let's find out when they started riding.
Started riding like 1998 from Kinston originally. Grew up here. We had a solid group of dudes from Kinston. Obviously, we're only like 25, 30 minutes from Greenville, so there was a pretty solid little scene here. A lifer, I have to say at this point. Yeah, I love BMX, man.
Oh, geez, man. I started riding, what would it be, 77? I don't know, when I was little, mid-70s. I rode for Standard and then Schwinn and then FBM. So, yeah, I had fun.
Kevin, where did the name come from? The Line.
So the Line, wanted something short and sweet. I mean, you take in the unit ramps, it's kind of similar, but then at the same time, like, we wanted to build some ramps that have multiple lines. Like when you're a BMXer, like you pick your line, like before you even drop in, like, okay, I want to do this, and you find your line. And then some of that kind of goes into like kids' lives and stuff, and like helping them find their line, like in life. That's what we initially, like, finally settled on.
So the whole reason the line is happening is because, sadly, the unit closed. And let's find out what happened with that.
I think actually Dan Foley's kind of the reason any of this happened. Randomly enough, me and Dan are pretty good friends, and I'd seen Dan here in Kinston randomly riding his bike. He was here for like a little video work trip, and I actually brought him to our warehouse, which is right down the road, where we actually had a mini ramp set up and some other little ramps. And he just knew that we had a ton of space. So when he found out the unit was closing, I guess he told Ryan, like, hey, you should hit up Kevin. Like, he's trying to get a park built anyways, and he's got a big storage place. So pretty soon after, I was on the phone with Ryan, and, I think he was trying to kind of figure it out. And it's not like we had a ton of prep time. It was like building out, rent it out or whatever, to like Ron and Ryan were here, like Oregon, we're here like tearing it down, and we had to figure out how to get it here. So it was really quick, within like a few weeks.
I guess the first piece of it was like whatever it was 7 or 8 years ago, Ryan Corrigan and I had the displeasure of tearing apart the unit. Those are the worst kind of jobs. I'm always grateful for the work, but tearing apart your friend's dreams is a bummer. Ryan asked us to keep it in nice pieces so it could get put back together. And I remember the whole time thinking, like, is this really gonna ever happen? Really? Like, who are these dudes that are taking the ramps? Like, what's gonna happen with this? And I didn't know Kevin. I just knew he was one of the dudes coming and taking the ramps. So we were just going through it as fast as we could, trying to do it as cheap as we could for Ryan.
It was impossible task, honestly. Everybody came together, we got it. It took like 60 trips to get all the ramps here from Greenville, which the unit's like 45 minutes away from here on that side of town. So it was a lot, tons of money and fuel. The building that it's stored in wasn't even mine. It's actually one of my best friends. Once we got the opportunity, I basically was like, hey, we're moving the unit into y'all's extra warehouse. First thing they said, what do you think it'll fit? We actually ended up cutting a hole in the side of the wall, and we got it all here.
I kind of had forgotten about it, to be honest with you. I knew the ramps were supposed to be somewhere in a warehouse, and I was like, some dudes are just like, have their own little setup in a warehouse now, and that's the end of that.
So now let's find a little bit about what's going on with the line.
Then I got a call from Kevin. I think it was probably, I don't know, November or something like that. He called me and out of the blue and said, hey, this is Kevin Albritton down in North Carolina. I have the unit ramps in a warehouse, and I think I have a spot for them. Are you interested? And I was just like, dude, that's so awesome. Like, I wrote it off. Like, yeah, that's so cool. I would love to be part of it. Like, we started working on designs, and which is also difficult, trying to work on a design off of all these pieces. I drew some stuff up. I would send it to him, and he would look at it in the building. And then he had the ramp sitting in here in a forklift. So he just started kind of placing things a little bit like we were looking at. And then he said, hey, what about this? Or what if we flip the design around, which is what we ended up doing, kind of flipping the whole thing. That part was kind of cool to have all the ramps in here and to be able to kind of set things up Lego style, at least close, and get a feel for what it really was going to look like. We just went through that process. I showed up and he was like, well, this is kind of what I've got laid out. What do you think? And some of it's similar to what I drew and some of it's way different, but it's coming together really awesome. And we had drawn kind of things that were a little more linear, a little more back and forth. But then we're standing here looking at all these bowl corners that we had that were already built. And I was like, I can build it all, but like, you have them sitting here. Each one of those is days of work that are like free. I just got to take a little bit of time and screw them back together. So anyway, it turned into this. Super stoked on how it's coming out. I think we've got a really amazing park going here.
The unit building was like roughly 15,000 square feet. So this room that you see behind me, this will be BMX. So you have training facility. So you have your foam pit and your resi and all that stuff. And then we have the unit bowl. And then we're also going to have behind us like a nice rhythm section, jump line, sort of like wheel mill style. The next room over has got about 3,800 square feet of rideable space. So we're letting the skaters really get involved with that and make like helping design and make that like a really solid street plaza. You don't want me to design that side because like I'm a ramp box jump guy. I want them to be involved. So like, you know, it's always kind of been skaters versus BMXers back in the day. And now it's kind of like, let's, you know, we're spreading the wealth, you know, like, hey, we want y'all here too. Like one, there's a lot of skaters and it helps us get people in the door and help us pay a little bit of the bills and stuff because we still have insurance and power bill and all that stuff. And the Southeast lacks in specifically BMX indoor parks, but even the skate guys, I mean, there's a couple places.
Because they're using a lot of the unit's ramps, there has to be some similarities, don't you think?
For sure, there's, you know, if you rode the unit, there's some pieces of it, the spine bowling into the vert wall. There's the exact box jump behind me with the blend into the spine that has a hip. And so there's, if you ever were in the unit, you're going to see some similarities. Maybe a little more user friendly because the unit was like high level. Yeah. I went there a few times and I'm like, Darden, how do I get to that thing? And then he's like, follow me. And 10 walls later, I'm like, did we have to do all that to get there? He's like, well, yeah, kind of.
So as you know, a lot of indoor parks just don't stick around that long. So let's see why the line is different than other parks.
It's a hard business. Indoor skate park is a really difficult thing to pull off. I had an honest conversation with him. I said, if you didn't have a good setup where I felt like you could succeed, I would have to be honest with you and tell you like, you're going to lose your life savings. Don't do this. You have to be in the right situation, in the right place or whatever else. You have to have an understanding to be able to make this work.
You know, as well as I do, like indoor skate parks are hard to keep alive. Like normally it costs a ton of money to get the building. You know, price per square foot's insane. Like minimum $5,000 to $10,000 in this area, which is still cheap compared to somewhere like Raleigh. I knew if we were gonna make this work, like it would have had to be some sort of donated building, like where we were set in, like if we spent the time and effort and money to make it work, that we were locked in. Thankfully, there's a guy around here that's done a lot of redevelopment of this little area. He heard about it. The city actually reached out to him when they heard that we got the ramp. Happened to just see him one day when we were moving ramps, and he started getting on it. And this building became available about 3 years ago, part of a larger plant that they're gonna be redeveloping and make it look nicer in this neighborhood. It's called Mitchelltown. So he actually started working on it, and it took about 2.5 to 3 years to get everything rolling to where we actually got the keys to this place back in January or October really, but really we're in here in January. The crazy part is we're rent free. We have a lease with the city for this property that requires some economic development, but we're here for 20 years with the option to renew in another 20 years. So it's crazy to think that the unit ramps could still technically be alive and a long time past us.
Super cool to be involved in it. Like this town itself, the guy who has the building here is a cool guy with some money who wants to bring up the town, has all these artists in town and all this other stuff going on. And so this is a piece of that, and a park that will, you know, this piece of the park that we're sitting in, I think will put this place on the map. hopefully we can get USA BMX out here and Monster Recon Tour and all that fun stuff. There's not many places on the East Coast for that kind of stuff.
We are a nonprofit, and one of the missions I have is getting kids on bike. And so I want to really make sure the kids get bikes. If any kid comes in here and gets interest at all, like, we'll make sure they get a bike and gear or whatever else. So that's one of the main missions of the park. Like, yeah, building cool, fun ramps, building the scene back a little bit, giving everybody like kind of an anchor point. And then, you know, this is a rural area. Like, Kinston has more NBA players per capita than anywhere in the world, and it's because there's nothing to do. So like, we give a place like this, we're going to create a ton of new riders just because there's nothing for them to do around here, which is rad. You know, like, it creates out of 10 new riders, you'll get one lifer for sure. Not that we ever want BMX to ever be structured, because it's called freestyle for a reason, but if we can offer some like programming and things to get kids started, especially with the modern helicopter parent, you know, like, hey, we'll make sure your kid's going to be okay. We'll teach them the ropes. We'll make sure they're wearing the right stuff, and like, you get them started. That's one of the benefits we have here to kind of create the scene even bigger, I think.
So here's a little more info on the Line Action Sports Park.
So the best place is probably Instagram, the Line Action Sports Park Instagram. We have a Facebook as well. There's a website that's actually the nonprofit that we're under is Smart Kinston. So you can go to smartkinston.org, and then there's a little section under there. And Kevin Albritton on Instagram. If you want to reach out and do anything and help us out, or if you want to figure out where we are or whatever, send me a message. I'm always on there. One of the cool things we'll have is this is a 12-acre campus that's all fenced in. Eventually we're going to have a big stage outside. We also have the front lot, which is about an acre. We're talking about maybe eventually doing some outdoor like pump track and stuff like that. The same owner, he owns Mother Earth Brewery, which is right down the road. He's got a brewery and a bunch of Airbnbs and houses and stuff. So like, we kind of have like the perfect storm for like creating a cool little scene, or either having somewhere to go and hang out and whatever else. So we're right near the downtown area too, which is cool. Food and drinks and stuff like that.
The big question is, when will they open? Kevin?
We're getting close to having the big bowl section done. We got a few more weeks of building. Ron Kimler is a machine, and it's crazy what he can do. Once we get the ramps done in the next few weeks, we'll start on the skate room. We're not 100% set on the design on that room yet, and then we're gonna make it look pretty and nice and paint and all that stuff. So it'll be mid to late fall is what we're hoping for. It's not too far away.